right, so today we are going deep into George R. R. Martin's A Game of Thrones.
Oh, this is a good one.
Yeah, it's a classic. It's epic fantasy.
Yes.
So we're talking a land where seasons last for generations,
Good.
winters are brutal, and everybody's fighting for power. Noble families, that is.
Yeah.
And dragons, of course. Can't forget the dragon.
No, of course not.
This is going to be a wild ride, so let's jump right in on it.
Yeah, let's go.
Starting with Chapter 1.
So right away, Martin just throws us right into this world, the world of the Starks,
Okay.
the honorable lords of Winterfell in the frozen north. And right off the bat, something really unsettling happens. They find a litter of direwolf pups,
Interesting.
which it's kind of a bad omen.
Oh, yeah.
You know, a sign of dark times to come.
I see.
And this kind of sets the tone for, I think, the whole book, this sense of, like, impending doom.
Yeah.
It's like it hangs over everything.
Gotcha. And these direwolves, I'm assuming they're going to play a significant role later on.
Oh, yeah, big time.
Okay, but we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Chapter 2.
Okay.
And this time, it seems like we are shifting gears completely.
Yeah, total change of scenery.
Yeah.
We are transported across the narrow sea to meet Daenerys Targaryen
Okay.
and her brother, Viserys,
Okay.
the last, I think, surviving members of the Targaryen dynasty.
Okay.
They're in exile, but they're plotting to reclaim, you know, the Iron Throne, which is the seat of power in the Seven Kingdoms.
So we've got the honorable Starks in the north. We've got the exiled Targaryens across the sea.
Yeah.
What about the current rulers? Who are they?
Right. Well, Chapter 3 takes us to the heart of the Seven Kingdoms,
Okay.
and we are introduced to King Robert Baratheon, who honestly seems more interested in, like, hunting and feasting than actually ruling.
Okay.
His wife, Cersei Lannister, though, she's a powerful and ambitious woman. And her twin brother, Jaime, is a member of the Kingsguard, sworn to protect the king.
Interesting. So it seems like things are already getting pretty interesting. A lot of different players here.
Yeah, lots of intrigue going on.
Yeah. And Chapter 4 brings us back to the Starks.
Okay.
Specifically, Bran, the youngest son.
Yeah.
He's, I guess you could say, an adventurous climber. Likes to climb.
He does.
And he makes a discovery that is going to change everything.
He does. This is where I think the plot really thickens.
Okay.
Bran accidentally sees something he shouldn't, a secret involving Cersei and Jaime.
Scandalous.
Oh, yeah. And it's so dangerous, this secret, it actually puts his life in jeopardy.
Wow.
And this incident, it really sets off a chain of events that's going to drive a lot of the conflict in the book.
So this is like a turning point.
It is, yeah, a big one.
Wow. Okay. It seems like everybody has secrets.
Yeah, they do.
And no one is safe.
Yeah.
Let's see where Chapter 5 takes us.
Okay, so this time we journey to King's Landing, the capital of the Seven Kingdoms,
Okay.
with Eddard Stark, the Lord of Winterfell.
Okay.
He's been summoned by the king.
To serve as Hand of the King, which is, you know, the king's most trusted advisor.
That's a big position.
It is.
A lot of responsibility.
Yeah. Big honor, big responsibility.
And Eddard Stark, he's an honorable guy
Yeah, very.
going into, well, it sounds like a world of intrigue and deception.
It is a little bit.
I can't imagine he's going to have an easy time of it.
No.
On to Chapter 6.
All right.
What happens now?
This time, we shift to Jon Snow.
Okay.
He's Eddard Stark's illegitimate son.
Okay.
And he feels like an outsider in his own family, you know?
Yeah.
So he decides to join the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
Which is a brotherhood that's sworn to defend the realm from threats beyond the wall.
The wall.
Yeah, this massive ancient barrier of ice.
Yeah.
Protecting the Seven Kingdoms from, you know, whatever's out there.
Okay.
Beyond the wall.
So Eddard's heading into the Lion's Den in King's Landing.
Yeah.
And Jon is choosing a different path, one of hardship and duty.
That's right.
All right. Let's see where Chapter 7 takes us. All right. So back to Daenerys.
Okay.
She's being forced to marry Khal Drogo.
Who's that?
He's a powerful Dothraki warlord.
Okay.
And the Dothraki are, they're a fierce, nomadic people known for their horsemanship and their warrior culture.
Okay.
This marriage is a strategic move by her brother, who's hoping to gain the Dothraki support, you know, in his bid for the Iron Throne.
Daenerys' story is getting more and more fascinating. She starts as a pawn in her brother's schemes, but I have a feeling she's gonna become someone to reckon with.
Yeah, you might be right about that.
All right, Chapter 8, please.
Okay, so we're back in Winterfell.
Okay.
And Bran is recovering from his fall.
Right.
His injuries have left him in a coma.
Oh, no.
And his family, they're really worried that he might not wake up.
Of course.
Caitlin, his mother, she's keeping vigil by his bedside, just, racked with worry.
That's heartbreaking for the Starks.
It is.
I mean, they're already dealing with so much, and now this.
Yeah.
Okay, Chapter 9. This brings us back to King's Landing.
It does, yes.
Okay.
Eddard Stark has finally arrived at King's Landing, and he's settling into his new role as Hand of the King. He realizes pretty quickly, though, that the court, it's like a viper's nest of intrigue and betrayal. And he starts investigating the circumstances surrounding the death of his predecessor, Jon Arryn.
Because it was suspicious.
Oh, yeah, very.
Okay, so he's walking into a dangerous web of secrets, huh?
He is.
What happens in Chapter 10?
So in Chapter 10, we follow Jon Snow as he arrives at the Wall.
Okay.
And he begins his training as a recruit at the Night's Watch.
Right.
He learns pretty quickly, though, that life at the Wall is really harsh.
Yeah.
Unforgiving, I guess. And he faces challenges from some of the other recruits, including, this guy, Sir Alistair Thorne, who's really arrogant.
Oh, wow. So Jon's story sounds a lot like a classic coming-of-age tale full of trials and tribulations.
It is, a little bit, yeah.
Okay, what about Chapter 11?
Chapter 11. This is where we're introduced to Tyrion Lannister.
Okay.
He's Jaime's younger brother.
Okay.
And, he's a dwarf.
Okay.
And he's often mocked and underestimated by everyone around him.
Oh, wow.
But he is really intelligent, he's witty, he's got a sharp tongue, and he doesn't hesitate to use it.
So he sounds like quite a character. I'm already intrigued.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites, I'll be honest.
Okay, let's move on to Chapter 12. What happens here?
Back to Daenerys,
Okay.
who's now pregnant with Khal Drogo's child.
Oh, wow.
The news of her pregnancy, it's met with, big celebration among the Dothraki, who see it as a sign of strength and, good fortune.
Sure.
But there are those who see Daenerys and her unborn child as a threat.
Oh.
And they'll stop at nothing to get rid of her.
Oh, boy. Things are about to get really complicated, I have a feeling.
Yeah, definitely.
Chapter 13, please.
Okay. So we're back in King's Landing,
Okay.
where Eddard Stark is still investigating Jon Arryn's death. And he discovers it's a hidden book that belonged to Arryn.
Okay.
And this book has, a detailed genealogy of the Baratheon and Lannister families.
Interesting.
And this book holds the key to a really dangerous secret.
Oh.
One that could honestly, shake the very foundation of the Seven Kingdoms.
Oh, wow. Okay, now that's a cliffhanger. I got to know what happens next.
I know, it's a good one. So Chapter 14 takes us back to the Wall,
Oh.
where Jon Snow is proving himself as a recruit.
Right.
He's become friends with Samwell Tarly.
Okay.
He's this kind of timid but really intelligent young man who, honestly, he's not really cut out for the Night's Watch.
Yeah.
But Jon, he kind of takes Sam under his wing.
Okay.
Protects him from, the harsh treatment of their superiors.
Sounds like Jon's leadership qualities are starting to emerge, even in this crazy environment.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Where do we go next?
Back to King's Landing in Chapter 15.
Okay.
Eddard Stark is getting closer to unraveling this Lannister family secret. He actually confronts Cersei.
He does?
Yeah, warns her that she and her children are in danger.
That's a bold move.
It is, yeah. Confronting the queen like that?
Yeah.
Must have taken a lot of courage.
What's next in Chapter 16?
We're back to Winterfell.
Okay.
Bran is slowly recovering.
Right.
He starts having these strange dreams.
Okay.
Filled with, wolves and three-eyed ravens.
Ooh.
And these dreams, they seem like they're more than just nightmares, though. They're, visions or something, hinting at, this deeper connection to something, mystical in this world.
So Bran's journey is taking a turn towards the supernatural.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I wonder what those visions mean.
You're right.
What about Chapter 17?
So back across the Narrow Sea
Okay.
with Daenerys,
Right.
her relationship with Khal Drogo has kind of evolved.
Okay.
And she's really come to understand and even admire the Dothraki way of life. She's grown more confident, more assertive.
Yeah.
She's not that timid girl we met at the beginning of the book anymore.
It's pretty amazing how much Daenerys has grown.
Yeah, she has.
She was really coming into her own.
She is.
Okay, Chapter 18, please.
So King's Landing is just a powder keg of tension in this chapter.
Uh-oh.
There's this big tournament
Okay.
in honor of Eddard Stark becoming Hand of the King.
Right.
But the festivities are kind of overshadowed by this violence
Yeah.
and this underlying animosity between the Starks and Lannisters.
So the rivalry is really reaching a boiling point.
It is, yeah.
What happens next?
In Chapter 19,
Okay.
Catelyn,
Oh,
who's still reeling from the attack on Bran,
Yeah.
she gets news that her husband's been injured
Oh, no?
in King's Landing.
Wow.
So she decides to take matters into her own hands,
Oh, okay.
and she travels south,
Okay.
seeking answers and justice.
Caitlyn's a fierce protector of her family.
Oh, yeah.
I can't imagine she'll let anyone get away with hurting them.
No.
Let's see where chapter 20 takes us.
This chapter brings us back to Jon Snow at the Wall.
Okay.
He's facing this crucial test of loyalty.
Okay.
You know, he's made friends. He's
Yeah.
starting to feel like he belongs there.
Mm-hmm.
But his allegiance to the Night's Watch,
Yeah.
it's challenged when he receives some really devastating news from home.
What happened?
His father, Eddard, has been arrested for treason.
That's a huge blow.
It is, yeah. He's torn between his duty to the Night's Watch and his loyalty to his family.
Yeah. Chapter 21, please.
All right, so we're back in King's Landing,
Yeah.
where Eddard is in prison and
Right.
facing these accusations of treason,
Hmm.
and he's been betrayed by people he trusted,
Wow.
and his life's hanging in the balance.
Okay.
Meanwhile,
Yeah.
King Robert, he
Yeah.
gets mortally wounded in a hunting accident,
Oh, no.
leaving the Seven Kingdoms in chaos.
Oh, well, things are falling apart.
Yeah.
With the king dead and Eddard imprisoned, what happens next?
Chapter 22 brings this shocking turn of events. Despite confessing to treason to try and save his daughter's lives,
Mm-hmm.
Eddard Stark is publicly executed
No way.
on the orders of the new king, Joffrey Baratheon.
That's brutal.
It is.
I can't believe they actually killed him.
It's intense.
What happens after such a dramatic event?
Well, chapter 23 throws us right into the chaos.
Okay.
News of Eddard's execution reaches Winterfell,
Yeah.
and Robb Stark, Eddard's eldest son,
Mm-hmm.
is declared king in the north by his bannermen.
Oh, wow.
The Seven Kingdoms are on the brink of civil war.
So the death of Eddard has just ignited a firestorm.
Yeah, it has.
The Starks and their allies are rising up against the Lannisters.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next in chapter 24?
We shift to the ball,
Okay.
where Jon Snow is reeling from the news,
Good
of
to see.
course. He's heartbroken and filled with rage.
Yeah.
He's tempted to abandon his post
Really?
to seek revenge.
Yeah.
But his oath to the Night's Watch holds him back.
Of course.
You know, forces him to really confront his loyalties.
John's facing a really difficult choice.
Mm-hmm.
He is.
You know, he's always struggled to find his place,
Yeah.
and now his world's been turned upside down.
Mm.
Let's see where chapter 25 takes us.
Okay, so we return to Daenerys
Right.
across the Narrow Sea.
Okay.
She's suffered a terrible loss.
What happened?
Her husband, Khal Drogo, has been gravely wounded,
Oh, no.
and their unborn child has died
Oh.
in a desperate attempt to save Drogo.
Yeah.
She turns to blood magic,
Oh, wow.
but her actions have unforeseen consequences.
Oh, boy. Daenerys has faced so much tragedy.
She has.
I wonder how she'll overcome this latest heartbreak.
It's rough.
Chapter 26, please.
Okay, so back in the Seven Kingdoms,
Right.
Robb Stark has gathered his army
Okay.
and is marching south,
Okay.
seeking justice for his father.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually wins a pretty decisive victory against the Lannister forces.
Really?
Yeah, and captures Jaime Lannister,
Oh, wow.
a valuable prisoner of war.
It sounds like Robb is a force to be reckoned with.
He
He's
got
proving
the-
to be a capable leader in war. Yeah, he's a natural.
Okay, what's next in chapter 27?
This chapter, we witness this transformative moment for Daenerys. In this display of power
Yeah.
and magic, she walks into her husband's funeral pyre
Oh, wow.
and emerges unscathed
Oh,
with 3 baby dragons clinging to her.
dragons.
Yeah, the mother of dragons is born.
Wow, that changes everything.
It does.
It seems like Daenerys is finally claiming her destiny.
I think you're right.
Okay, chapter 28, please.
All right, so back to Catelyn Stark,
Okay.
who's journeyed south to join her son.
Right.
She's heartbroken over Eddard's death, obviously,
Yeah.
but she's determined to support Robb
Okay.
in his fight.
Mm-hmm.
She becomes this key advisor,
Okay.
urging him to use caution and strategy in his war against the Lannisters.
Caitlyn is a pillar of strength for her family,
Yeah.
even in the face of such tragedy.
Yeah.
Okay, what about chapter 29?
So, back at the Wall,
Okay.
Jon Snow is chosen for this dangerous mission
Oh,
to go beyond the Wall with a group of rangers,
right.
led by this guy, Corran Halfhand, who's very experienced,
Okay.
to investigate this growing threat of wildlings.
Okay, so Jon is stepping into the unknown.
He is, yeah.
What does he encounter beyond the wall in chapter 30?
Jon and the rangers encounter a wildling patrol,
Oh.
and a pretty fierce battle ensues.
Right.
Jon finds himself face to face with this young wildling woman
Okay.
named Ygritte,
Okay.
who kind of challenges his perceptions of the wildlings.
Okay.
And she sparks this kind of forbidden attraction in him.
It seems like Jon's journey is about to test everything he thought he knew
Yeah, definitely.
about the world and himself.
Yeah.
This is getting good.
Yeah.
What happens in chapter 31?
So we shift back to King's Landing
Okay.
with Sansa,
Right.
who's basically a prisoner of the Lannisters now.
Right.
She's forced to witness King Joffrey's cruelty,
Yeah.
who just seems to enjoy tormenting her.
Oh, wow.
And everyone around him.
Sansa's story is heartbreaking. She started out so naive,
Yeah.
and now she's trapped in this nightmare.
Right.
What about chapter 32?
So this chapter follows Arya,
Okay.
who's been in hiding,
Yeah.
disguised as a boy,
Yeah.
since her father's arrest.
Yeah.
She's seen the brutality of the city,
Yeah.
and she's learned to survive.
Okay.
She's determined to escape and find her way back to her family.
Arya is a survivor.
Yeah, she is.
I have a feeling she's going to become a pretty formidable force.
Yeah, I think you might be right.
Okay. Chapter 33, please.
So back at the wall,
Okay.
Jon's facing a moral dilemma.
Okay.
He's ordered to kill Ygritte,
Oh,
the wildling woman,
right.
but he can't bring himself to do it.
Of course not.
His loyalty to the Night's Watch is clashing with his feelings for her
Wait.
and his changing understanding of the wildlings.
Yeah.
It's a tough spot for Jon.
It is.
He's always torn between duty and his heart.
Yeah. Yeah. What's next in chapter 34?
We return to the war in the Riverlands, where Robb Stark is really consolidating his power.
Go.
He's earning the loyalty of his bannermen
Yeah.
and the respect of his enemies.
Robb's becoming a legend.
Yeah, he is.
He's a stark contrast to Joffrey.
Yeah, total opposite.
Let's see what happens in chapter 35.
So back in King's Landing,
Okay.
Tyrion has arrived to serve as acting hand of the king
Like-
while his father's away.
Right.
And he asserts his authority pretty quickly.
Okay.
Uses his cunning and intelligence to outmaneuver everyone.
Tyrion's such a fascinating character.
He is.
He's always underestimated,
Mm-hmm.
but he's always one step ahead.
Always.
What about chapter 36?
So we journey across the narrow sea
Okay.
with Daenerys.
Mm-hmm.
She's leading her followers through the Red Waste,
Oh.
facing hardship and danger.
Yeah.
But she's determined to survive
Right.
and find a way to reclaim her birthright.
Daenerys' resilience is really inspiring.
Yeah, it is.
She never gives up,
Never.
even when the odds are stacked against her. Okay, chapter 37, please.
All right, so back at the wall,
You okay?
Jon Snow makes a decision.
Okay.
He chooses to spare Ygritte's life
Wow.
and let her escape.
How?
And this act of defiance, it puts him at odds with the other Rangers.
Of course.
His loyalty is questioned once again.
It seems like his heart is leading him down a dangerous path.
Yeah, it does.
What happens next?
Well, the book concludes in chapter 38
Okay.
with this sense of, I think, both hope and uncertainty.
Okay.
Daenerys, having survived the Red Waste,
Yeah.
arrives at the city of Korth,
Okay.
seeking refuge and support.
Okay.
Meanwhile, the war in the Seven Kingdoms rages on.
Right.
The fate of Westeros hangs in the balance.
Wow. What a journey.
It is.
We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive into a Game of Thrones,
We have.
from the frozen north to the Red Waste.
Yeah.
We followed all these characters,
Mhm.
but this is just the beginning.
Right.
There's so much more to explore in this world
Oh, yeah.
that George R.R. Martin has created.
So much more.
So we've reached the end of Game of Thrones, the first book at least. Feels like the calm before the storm, you know. So many characters at these crossroads.
Right.
What are some of the big questions we're left with here?
Well, I mean, Daenerys arriving in Qarth, that's a huge moment.
Right.
You know, will she find the support she needs to actually, like, launch her invasion?
Yeah.
And what about the war in the Seven Kingdoms?
Right.
I mean, Robb Stark, he's shown he can lead,
Yeah.
but can he actually unite the North and defeat the Lannisters?
Yeah, that's a big question. And Jon Snow's situation is so tense.
Oh, totally.
Choosing Ygritte over his duty,
Huge implications.
huge. It makes you wonder where his loyalty really lies.
Right. Like, is it with the Night's Watch or is it somewhere else?
Yeah.
And we can't forget about Sansa and Arya still stuck in King's Landing.
Right.
Sansa's trying to survive in this, like, really dangerous court.
Hmm.
And Arya, she's forging her own path.
Right.
Becoming this, like, resourceful, resilient
Yeah.
young woman.
It's incredible how each of their journeys reflects these bigger themes, right? Like power, family, loyalty, and of course, survival.
Absolutely. Game of Thrones, it's not just fantasy. I think it's a reflection of, like, human nature, our ambition,
Yeah.
our flaws, and the choices we make when, things are really tough. I think Martin makes us think about some uncomfortable truths.
Yeah, for sure. About ourselves and, honestly, about the world.
Totally.
It's clear that this book is just the start of something much bigger.
Oh, yeah.
Martin leaves us with this sense of anticipation, like what's going to happen next.
Right. To these characters and to the Seven Kingdoms.
Exactly.
I think that's what makes it so captivating. It stays with you. You keep thinking about the characters and their choices in this world. It makes you question everything. And honestly, it leaves you wanting more.
Yeah, you really captured it there. This deep dive has been fascinating.
It has.
Exploring this web of characters and plot lines and themes.
Yeah.
It's a modern classic for a reason.
It is. And it's one of those books that, like, you reread it and you discover something new.
Yeah.
New layers of meaning, new details. It's a story that keeps on giving.
So to anyone who hasn't experienced Game of Thrones yet, I encourage you, dive in. Be prepared to be captivated.
Yes.
By this world of political intrigue and epic battles and unforgettable characters. And for those who have read it, I hope this has rekindled your love for the story.
Yeah.
And left you wanting to revisit the Seven Kingdoms.
Me too.
Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.